What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. Today in this video, guys, we're going to talk about the Juno Prop 16 and Prop 17 coming up. Lots of controversy, lots of drama. I really don't like to get involved with this type of stuff, but I'm going to fill you in with what's going on and some possible scenarios that I think could help with a solution. So let's go ahead and talk about what happened. We're going to go ahead and read the proposal so you guys can kind of see what's going on. But basically, this was a proposal to correct the gamed stake drop. Now, some people say it was gamed, some people say it wasn't. But let's talk about a couple of the major factors. The whale gamer proposes a growing risk to the network because they hold a significant amount of tokens. Right now they have over 3 million Juno tokens, and this will be ever increasing. As a proof of stake network, you will earn more of the tokens. Now, if they recompound this, they will earn even more and more. The initial tranche of the Juno tokens they did sell those off, but right now they do have some rewards that are accumulating. So a little bit about this quote unquote whale and what happened is they're basically an entity that custodies funds for users. So some determine it as an exchange, some don't, but in my opinion, it would label it kind of as a centralized exchange. What they do is they allow you to exchange fiat for cryptocurrency. And in this particular exchange, they actually allow you to trade the yen for any of these cryptocurrencies. So in particular, this was for Cosmos. So it was like the fiat on-ramp. And what the protocol or the SEX was doing was they were splitting the Cosmos tokens into different wallets. Now, some would say, oh, they were just gaming the airdrop, and others would say, well, no, they're actually just diversifying their risks. They're putting it into different wallets. That way, if one was hacked, the whole entire stash was not taken. So this is how they actually gained a lot of different tokens. Should have they been eligible for the tokens? Well, if you look in the proposal, not the proposal, but in the airdrop details, centralized exchanges were actually not eligible. So if they are deemed a centralized exchange, then they really shouldn't have gotten any Juno. But remember, it was sent to them, so theoretically it's actually theirs. Whether it's right to be theirs or not, they have it. So here's some of the risks with this, and then I'll talk about some other options and other things. I got ADHD notes, so I'll pull it up. I probably went out of order, but who cares? Here are the risks of doing nothing. Like I mentioned to you guys, they already own a large share of the votes. So it's a high risk to on-chain governance. They already have half of the quorum. Second, potential of buying validators with delegations so they can bribe them to gain even more of a share. So basically the rich get richer and keep getting richer in this type of scenario because like they can make the proposal turn to where it benefits them better. That's typically how it goes. That's just politics. Third, the whale gamer can single-handedly wipe out an entire DEX liquidity in 10 minutes or less. Yes, this is true. They can literally manipulate the prices with that amount of Juno. And then lastly, you have the fear of the community on a daily basis, which is mainly just fearing that it's going to dump, crash the price, etc. Now, here are the order of operations that they proposed. 1. Upgrade. 2. Remove the funds from the whale gamer account. 3. Send the funds to the Juno community pool. And 4. Leave 50k Juno on the address, fair share. And then 5th, Core 1 will compensate effective validators with the next official delegation round. Now, in my opinion, me personally, I don't agree with removing the funds from someone's account because it's one of those things like once you do it once, well, what about doing it again? What about doing it this time? What about doing it that time? That's why it's a really fickle situation, and you have to be careful with that. I'll talk about a couple of other options, in my opinion, that I think would be another solution. But let's go and hit on a couple of other notes that I wrote down that I probably didn't go over. So the voting process. Let me explain to you how the voting process works. When you vote on Juno, you are not actually voting. These are the validators that are voting. So there's like 100 and something validators, but basically each specific validator has a say and has a vote, and that is what's determining the vote, not you personally. So if you're not agreeing or you don't like a validator's vote, spin up your own validator. Do it yourself. I mean, it's proof of stake. Anyone can do it. It's a decentralized network. It's a decentralized protocol. You guys can do it yourself. Just make sure you understand how to run your own validator. Now, if you have one Juno token, you voting and saying yes, theoretically, the validator is supposed to vote to where most of their votes say. But still, the point is like some validators may get bribes, they may do something wrong. So when in doubt, if you want to spin up your own validator, you can do so. This is just some things you have to factor in a proof of stake network. I know it's like, oh wait, what the snap? Proof of work so much better. Well, there's pros and cons to each. Proof of work, they don't have to deal with this garbage, but they do have to deal with one miner containing too much of the hash power. So, I mean, there's like different things here and there. It's very hard to have, they basically call it the blockchain trilemma. But yeah, it's very hard. It's not or it's not very easy. It's actually very difficult. So the validators actually vote, and this is where the problem comes into play, is if the validators are bribed, this breaks trust in the community and so on. And that's why you really don't want to have a whale with a large amount of funds like that. Now, some good things though, there was a 97% turnout on this proposal, and this happened within a day, which is amazing. This just shows the strength in the community. So this is like fire sauce. Me personally, my thoughts on the whale, it just seems like a VC or a SEX to me, a centralized exchange, and like it was displayed. I don't think he maliciously gamed the airdrop. This just came out of random. Just got a bunch of tokens because the way it was set up, he was just able to get a bunch of tokens. He was diversifying his risk, not having all his eggs in one basket, and he just happened to get a bunch of Juno. Now, what's really ironic is like the Juno whale is running the game protocol, and they're having their own airdrop as well. It's actually built on Cosmos. But what's really, really funny about it is they're like, oh yeah, we only airdrop to wallets that are non-custodial. Let that sink in. Dude, this guy is taking Juno, or not Juno, but taking Cosmos from other people and staking it for them. That's custodial. But anyways, it's just ironic. Like he's basically just preaching one thing, he's basically just saying one thing and doing another. So it's kind of like, really? So that was just one of the integrity points, just for me personally. It was like, I don't know, man. Okay. So here are some solutions that I propose, or my thoughts. First is you can, or these aren't just like all of them. These are just like things that you could possibly do. Vest the tokens and do not allow any staking rewards to see the true colors of the whale. So like leave the tokens. They can stay in that wallet or put them into a contract to where they're vested over a certain period of time. Just kind of like, hey, it was a mistake, but until Juno gets a larger market cap, just kind of protecting against a dump if he was wanting to sell. Because like right now, if he sold, it would cause a negative price action on the Juno price, like significant. He holds about 10% based on the dollar amount or the token amount compared to the rest of the tokens. And being that it's proof of stake, his stake will increase just like everyone else's. So he will always have the same share of the network. That is the real concern we're going over right now. Now, the next option would be discussing with the whale. Let him understand if the chain is forked, like if we were to withdraw your funds and basically say, we're going to remove your funds and start our own chain and just say you have no funds here, this could affect his value as well. Well, actually, he would have no value. So it's like, you understand, like you really weren't supposed to get these tokens in general. But in my opinion, this would affect the integrity of the chain and the integrity in the community, or the trust in the community. And once you break trust, you really can't build that back. I mean, it takes years and years and years to build trust, but you can break your trust or lose trust from someone within a second, just like in what you do. Now, the other option would be just simply locking the tokens, not earning a staking rewards, and come to a decision that is not rushed. After we figure out more about what's going on with the situation, see the whale's true colors, and if it's determined it actually was acting like a centralized exchange, then the user would be deemed as ineligible for the airdrop. In this case, time would be on the side, because also if you lock the tokens and give no staking rewards, it would dilute his share in the network until we can determine a decision. And also, typically with time, and if more people are interested in Juno and more people are building on Juno, this will build a stronger network, and that way you can take the sell pressure. So time will tell. We'll see what happens. These are my thoughts on the proposal. These are a couple of solutions that I propose. It is a really, really, really fickle situation. I mean, because like, he received the funds. Is it right to take it back? Well, actually, no, it's not. He did get them, and he didn't do anything malicious. But then again, he was a sex, so he was kind of ineligible, but he still got the tokens. It's almost like sending cryptocurrency from your wallet to someone else, but you were supposed to send it to your friend, and you just sent it to the wrong address, and they got your funds. Is it right for them to have it? No. But do they have it? Yeah. Should they return it? I mean, that would be the moral thing to do. Do they have to? No, they don't have to. It's like finding money on the ground. Do you go look for the person who got it? I mean, it's hard. Like, you don't know who actually lost it. I mean, you can pick up the money on the ground and say, hey, is this your money? And then it's really not theirs, but they see money and it's like, yeah, it's mine. You give it to them and then they pocket it. It's like, things like that. Obviously, blockchain's a little bit different in that example because it's public and everyone can see this. So I just wanted to go over like the fickle situation that we're dealing with. You guys, if you are a Juno holder, I'm sure you're kind of concerned and curious about it. But remember, this shows the strength of the community, that we actually have something to vote on, and this is something that people actually care about. So this just shows the strength in the community. Not financial advice, of course. Let's go ahead and leave you guys with a wisdom one-liner. I actually want to do something a little bit different with this wisdom one-liner. This is actually with King Solomon. King Solomon was a king back in, let's just call it Bible days, whatever you want to call it. But back a long time ago. And this king, he was considered the wisest man on planet Earth, just in general, ever, the wisest man ever, and he was very smart. I recommend taking a read into First Kings. You can learn more about Solomon, but let me go ahead and give you guys an example of his wisdom. So, this is a parable that was, not a parable, but this was an actual story. This was something that actually happened. This was the wise ruling. This is what they call it. But it's in 1 Kings chapter 3, 16 to 28. Now 2 prostitutes came to the king and stood before him. One of them said, "Pardon me, my lord. This woman and I live in the same house, and I had a baby while she was there with me. The 3rd day after my child was born, this woman also had a baby. We were alone, where there was no one in the house but the 2 of us. During the night, this woman's son died because she laid on him. So she got up in the middle of the night and took my son from my side while I, your servant, was asleep. She put him by her breast and put her dead son by my breast. The next morning, I got up to nurse my son, and he was dead. But when I looked at him closely in the morning light, I saw that it was not the son I had born." The other woman said, "No, no, no. The living one is my son. The dead one is yours." But the first one insisted, "No. The dead one is yours. The living one is mine." And so they argued before the king. The king is Solomon. So the king said, "This one says, 'My son is alive and your son is dead,' while the one says, 'No, your son is dead and mine is alive.'" Then the king said, "Bring me a sword." So they brought a sword to the king. He then gave an order: "Cut the living child in 2 and give him half to one and half to the other." I mean, 50-50 is fair, right? Like, just cut the kid in two. It'll be all right. The woman whose son was alive was deeply moved out of love for her son and said to the king, "Please, my lord, give her the living baby. Don't kill him." But the other said, "Neither I nor you shall have him. Cut him in two." Now you see someone's true colors. You see? Then the king gave his ruling. "Give the baby to the first woman. Do not kill him. She is his mother." When all of Israel heard this verdict the king had given, they held the king in awe because they saw that he had wisdom from God to administer justice. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the little story. See you in the next one. I want to end this video with this. I do want to make a comment on this because I know this proposal and what's happening is going to constantly evolve. So this is just like a generic overview and a couple of generic thoughts. Yes, I didn't mention nor did I talk about like the whale or the Juno whale, whatever you want to call them, potentially threatening with lawsuits to the validators for rolling back the chain. Just like different things like that. I'm not mentioning it. I really don't want to get involved with the drama. I just wanted to fill you in with what's going on, some thoughts, some ideas, what can be done. As a community, this is what makes a community stronger. Let's see what happens and see how the community rolls and develops from this. This is where you create strong communities, and being able to discuss and talk about something like this goes to show like the active engagement inside a community. Whereas others, it's like, oh yeah, we're a dead chain, so who cares? Just vote for whatever pamps my bag, whatever you want. So just wanted to end it with these thoughts. And again, this is just an overview. Like, this isn't like if you believe something else or see something else, it's like, oh, well, you're wrong. Oh, well, we all have butts. We all have opinions. And guess what? They all stink. So these are just some ideas, thoughts, and concepts. It's an honor to have you guys watching this video. Thanks for tuning in. And if you guys have any comments, you can leave them in the description below. You can express your thoughts as well. Thank you. You guys can also catch me on tweeters at rent a home fast, like literally at rent a home fast.